Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Guman-Singh. Topping our newscast, thousands of students in the territory were up early for the first day of school Tuesday. Many had their parents in tow for orientations and other school meetings. Education officials also stopped at various schools across the territory to check on how students, parents, teachers, and staff were doing on the first day. News 2's April Knight has that story.
As students and parents headed to schools Tuesday for the first day of the academic year, Education Commissioner Sharon McCollum was right behind them, checking the readiness of VI schools.
Good morning. How is everyone? I'm very pleased with what I have seen thus far.
The commissioner visited several campuses on St. Thomas bright and early, talking to principals about their needs and how the department can help. In the past month, newly hired foreign teachers arrived on island. The influx filled a lot of gaps in schools, according to principals.
For the first time in over, I think, 15 years, this school has its full complement of all academic teachers.
But it wasn't all smooth flowing on the first day. Some power outages posed challenges to an already hectic day for faculty, staff, and the administration.
I've been being a fireman out in fires, being a nurse giving injections, whatever is needed to fix whatever the situation is, duct tape, band-aid. But it's been a really good morning.
The commissioner also said they're doing everything they can to improve the school lunch situation for students. School lunches have been a subject of complaint for some parents who either don't want processed foods for their kids or don't like the way that school lunches have been presented.
School lunch has been revamped. We've hired new personnel. We've moved personnel around, and we have a trainer who will be going from school to school, making sure that the meals are prepared in accordance with Department of Agriculture guidelines.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Well, meanwhile, education officials toured St. Croix's public schools, covering them in teams to make sure there were no first day issues. Several St. Croix schools merged or relocated, and officials were on hand when the Elena Christian Junior High sign was erected in its new home at Charles H. Emmanuel School.
It's been a very smooth transition. I had an opportunity to meet students in every classroom this morning, and they were all very comfortable and they were all very eager and happy to be here.
What we have been experiencing is a lot of excitement. Claudio Marker, for instance, that's a school that's children are coming from Evelyn Williams and going to that school. So the faculty was out there, everybody was working well with each other. The parents were adjusting to the new environment. We actually started touring schools yesterday to get a feel for where our schools were at, and we were very pleased with what we saw. We've had a few bumps, parents not sure about certain schedules, but our administrators have done an excellent job of mobilizing their paraprofessionals, their office staff, and in some cases, teachers.
Fathers also showed up for the first day of school for students, many of them participating in the Virgin Islands Fathers Back to School March. Organizers of the march were pleased to see more dads in the school crowds Tuesday morning.
Today, as the VI Fathers March, encouraging fathers to bring the children, or father figures to bring the children to school. We had some 45 fathers come through, and there's still a few who went directly to orientation. I'm going to wait to sign them in. Okay. We gave out 40 T-shirts. The fathers took the pledge, and they registered their children.
Senator Kenneth Gittens on Tuesday said he felt the excitement of new and returning students at various schools across the island and wishes them a successful school year. He said he was proud to be among the dozens of professional men who supported the students in the back-to-school day and look forward to continuing his support of the education system in the territory. Senator Gittens said whether our children are starting kindergarten, attending junior high school, entering high school, or leaving the nest for college, the hearts of the entire community goes with them so that they can have the support to strive for excellence. Well, more than 30 men from the St. Croix community welcome high school students from both public high schools Tuesday. It was an idea that Senator Kurt Violet shared with other men as a way to inspire and encourage students, particularly young men. News 2's Erica Parsons has the story.
The first faces that high schoolers from St. Croix Central High and Educational Complex saw Tuesday as they entered the school gates were those of men from the community.
It was clear that the impact we had this morning as the young men saw so many men, adult men there greeting them. You could see some of them shifted.
It was an idea birthed by Senator Kurt Vialet, important especially for the first day of school.
I wanted to be able to portray to the students coming to school, especially the high schoolers, that there's still a lot of positive black men in the community and that there's something for them to emulate, there's something for them to want to seek, to want to strive. And with all the recent violence and everything that's been going on in the community, I think it's very, very important when they're coming on the first day to see that there is a male community out here that cares about their education.
The welcoming committee included more than 30 professional men. They represented law enforcement, military men, firefighters, lawmakers, Senate staffers, men from the private and public sector, and men from local churches.
I just think it's very important that the young men and young ladies see men of the community and from various sectors and walks of life just come to give them give the blessing and the congratulations and tell them to have a great year.
Police Commissioner Delroy Richards was one of Central High's first graduates, and it was important for him to be there.
I think it's important. I think we have to do what we have to do to try to save the young men in this community, and even the females also. We sort of give them some encouragement to do well. Because we all have to be involved, we all have to play our part.
Erica Parsons, News 2.
The Department of Human Services St. Thomas St. John Head Start program kicked off the start of the 2015-2016 school year. Commissioner Vivian Ebbetson Flood in the St. Thomas district said sessions today were held for the Bavoni Head Start Center, Sugar Estate Head Start Center, Willem George Head Start Center, Newt Hansen Savan Head Start Center, Minetta Mitchell Head Start, Limburg Bay, and in the St. John District, the Cruz Bay Head Start Center. All the best for the young students. Now, due to a lack in other news, and this is the fire, the outages we reported earlier, due to a lack of adequate generating capacity of WAPA, service interruptions are now in effect. Here is John Grillo, spokesperson of WAPA, with more information.
Through 6 o'clock this evening, Feeder 7B is experiencing a service interruption, and if it becomes necessary to extend the rotating service interruptions beyond 6 p.m., from 6 to 8 p.m., service will be interrupted to Feeder 8A. The Water and Power Authority began experiencing problems with generating unit number 23, the largest in the St. Thomas St. John district, late Sunday night. At that time, plant personnel used the reduced load demand period to implement several stopgap measures in order to maintain service on the unit. When Unit 23 was taken offline earlier today, the authority immediately placed Units 25 and 14 online to, along with Unit number 15, address the power demand load, which was vacated by Unit 23.
Grillo also added Unit 18 was taken out of service to be retrofitted to burn propane fuel. Personnel continue to work diligently, he says, to restore Unit 23. WAPA apologizes for the inconvenience and will give updates of if any circumstances change. In other news, police were on high alert and the VI community on edge after 2 men were shot dead and nearly a dozen others injured across the territory in a span of a few days. The violent shootings prompted officials to cancel the pre-Carnival Juve warm-up and acting Governor Osbert Potter to declare a state of emergency. News 2's Erica Parsons has more.
Social media has been abuzz with outrage and shock after multiple shootings across the territory since Thursday claimed the life of 2 men and injured almost a dozen others. The pre-Carnival Juve canceled and the Juan Louis Hospital placed on lockdown.
One of the individuals who was shot multiple times was one of the targets that we were able to establish, and we were trying to prevent any similar activity in the hospital that would risk the lives of innocent individuals.
It began Thursday on St. Thomas with the death of a man who was gunned down at the university after he got off a safari. On Thursday on St. Croix, a man was shot in Estate St. George. The following day, while sitting in a car waiting to pick up his child from daycare, Jermaine Williams was gunned down. That set off a chain of shootings that sent 4 to the hospital Friday night and another one Saturday morning after being shot in Kings Hill.
It is no secret that we believe that a lot of the incidences in the territory are vengeance, crime-related. retaliatory in nature.
Acting Governor Osbert Potter called a press conference Saturday morning denouncing the violence and urging residents to help put a stop to it.
If your family, friends, or associate of individuals who may have been victimized, and you can communicate with them and let them know the importance of sharing that information with the police.
Potter declared a state of emergency, deputizing all peace officers. Leave for all police officers was canceled. Police worked 12-hour shifts with police checkpoints set up all over. The hospital's lockdown was cleared by Tuesday morning after 2 severely injured shooting victims were airlifted out of the territory. Erica Parsons, News 2.
2 men were also shot in hospital ground over the weekend on St. Thomas, and another man was shot in the attempted robbery of Napoleon's Pizza on St. Croix. Senator-at-Large Armando Rocky Liebert said we can't truly improve conditions for the local labor force or grow the economy until we first get a handle on crime. He said he has asked the governor to consider deputizing our retired officers willing to assist. He also suggested more foot patrols. Senator Norvell Francis stated that the gun violence reflects the eye for an eye mentality. Francis is calling on the clergy and community, among others, community leaders, to step in to help quell the violence. Virgin Islands Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett said, "We know that the lack of economic opportunity in our community is a root cause of our challenges with crime and violence, and it is a priority of her office," she says, to support economic growth and initiatives that will bring relief. Keeping our eye on the economy, here's the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. Taking a look there, everything up. The Dow up 390, NASDAQ up 128, S&P 500 48. Coming up on News 2, we have much more straight ahead. Why was the Carnival Liberty cruise ship evacuated, rushing about 4,500 passengers out onto the West Indian Company dock with towels and life jackets? We'll have an update. Welcome back. One Carnival cruise ship lies temporarily stranded on St. Thomas after a fire broke out in its engine room. Local government and local businesses came together to make the passengers as comfortable as possible, but their immediate future, at least within the time frame for the cruise, still remains uncertain. News 2's April Knight has details.
More than 3,300 passengers got a bit of a scare on Monday when they were evacuated from their cruise ship because of an engine fire. According to the West Indian Company, where the Carnival Liberty is docked, all passengers of the ship as well as non-essential crew were safely evacuated and that no one was injured. Smoke could be seen billowing from the ship late Monday morning when the fire broke out. It was quickly suppressed by the ship's automated high-fog fire suppression system, according to the Coast Guard. Local government agencies, including the fire department, the EMS, the VIPD, and Vitima, also responded. Carnival passengers could be seen walking around Haven site with their life vests and had to wait for hours in tents, some provided by local businesses, without access to their luggage. They were transported to nearby resorts and did not get the all clear to reboard the ship until past 8 that evening.
That's the Carnival Liberty that you see behind me, still docked at Waiko on St. Thomas as of Tuesday afternoon. St. Thomas is the ship's first port of call in a 7-day Caribbean cruise. Passengers who booked shore excursions will likely have to reschedule them or have already lost them entirely, not to mention flights. No definite word yet from Carnival on what's going to happen to the rest of what was supposed to be a fun vacation. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
As of Tuesday news time, there was no update on the status of the ship, its departure time, or future plans, according to Waiko. Count on 2 to keep you updated. The Smith Bay Community Action Foundation hosted their 5th annual Labor Day Extravaganza and Parade. The event kicked off 6 p.m. on Friday, September 4th, and continued through Monday, September 7th, with the parade. There was some nightly entertainment, food, drinks, live music, bouncers for the kids, face painting, and much more.
This year, we're expecting bigger and better things in the near future. We want everybody to come out and enjoy our Labor Day extravaganza. We have so much in store, but maybe we were formed to make a better in our community, to take care of all the needs of the community. And this is a time that we come together as one to celebrate this festive time during Labor Day weekend.
Thank Officer Chesterfield along with his organization for what he's trying to do to build a safe and perspective, or I would say productive community. I really thank him. Community policing, it involves all the stakeholders. It involves the police officers, and it involves the ministers, the senators, the service entities. He's doing a fabulous job. The individuals of the organization is doing a fabulous job.
Well, some sad news stateside to report as some were celebrating Labor Day. A former lawyer for New York Governor Andrew Cuomo was shot in the head by a stray bullet and critically wounded during pre-parade events before the West Indian American Carnival Parade. There was also a fatal stabbing. Governor Andrew Cuomo and Governor Mapp of the Virgin Islands, meanwhile, they led the 48th New York Caribbean Carnival Labor Day Parade in Brooklyn on Monday morning. The parade is the culmination of a week of events in New York City that was organized by the West Indian American Day Carnival Association. Mapp also made an appearance at the USVI booth. Now, while in New York, the governor attended several media appointments, including Fox 5 in New York and Bloomberg Radio's Taking Stock. Many enjoyed the Caribbean Cultural Fest in Harlem. St. Thomas Artist Pressure was the headliner at the Jackie Robinson Park. Kevin Hughes served as the master of ceremonies for that event that drew many. We will have highlights in a later newscast. Bright blue skies and crystal clear, calm waters were the backdrop for the second annual Animal Jam at Rhythms at Rainbow Beach on Saturday. The fundraising event featured live music, raffles, and animal welfare organizations providing information about what the community can do for our four-legged friends.
Animal Jam is super important for the community. It's a wonderful opportunity for people to come out and learn about all the different organizations working together on our island to improve animal welfare, to teach people about being kind to animals, how they can get their animals spayed and neutered. Every animal welfare organization on St. Croix is here today celebrating the work that we're doing and trying to reach out to the rest of the community and get people involved.
What a great event there. Tropical Storm Grace has been downgraded to a tropical depression. Forecasters with the National Hurricane Center said that Tuesday morning, and they say it's expected to weaken to a low remnant by Wednesday night. Meanwhile, our Bernie continues to track the tropics and will have the latest. Now we continue our hurricane season preparedness tips from Vitima. Here's more from the director, Mona Barnes. Can you tell us a little bit about FEMA's distribution center? I see it's a key logistics center for distribution of commodities. That's what we were
yes,
just
that's
talking
what we
about.
were just talking
Yes,
about.
okay.
And so what we did, and I am happy to say, the governor and some of his staff and I went to actually visit the commodity center in Puerto Rico this past June. And the Governor Mapp has been the first governor to ever visit that facility. And so I think it speaks well for our government and what we're doing as far as leaning forward. But in that facility, you have, anything from water to MREs to medical supplies to generators, emergency operations center that can actually be moved and brought to St. Croix if necessary. If you had to set up offices, desks, chairs, anything to just get us started if there is an event. And they have actually already pre-stocked what will go directly to St. Croix, what will go directly to St. Thomas and directly to St. John. So all of those coordinations are in place. We can do it prior to a storm or we can do it after a storm. So it just will depend on the storm and how it's tracking.
Some great information there in distribution centers. Now be sure to tune in for more hurricane preparedness information throughout the entire hurricane season. Stick around. News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.